Marilyn, Ryan, can you guys hear us? I think so, yeah.
Do you have the login information with you?
Do I? No,
Yeah.
I do not. I can run and get it.
Can you run and get it so that Scott can log in?
Oh.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
I was glad you showed up at the last meeting to talk about the global nature of it, so we don't start going right with everything else.
Yep, no, you guys are on the right path.
Did you go out Monday morning? And what time did you get there? Really? And there's still stuff up? Because some of the people were telling me it was all sold out.
Okay, Ryan, can you hear us?
Yes, yes, I can.
Awesome. Marilyn, are you on yet? All right, it is 4 o'clock and I will call the Plan Commission meeting to order. Holder Mitchell is excused. Ryan Sazma,
Here.
Jerry Jones, Marilyn Montemayor. Not on, all right. Dave Hoffman, John Matiska. For those in attendance, would you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you everybody for attending today. If you haven't signed in, please sign in on the clipboard. First item is approval of the minutes from our previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Mayor votes aye. Minutes are approved. All right, 3.1, application for conditional use with exceptions by HTT Inc. to construct a new addition to their facility located at 1828 Oakland Avenue. Steve?
All right, thanks, Mayor. HTT is looking to do a new addition at their facility located at 1828 Oakland Avenue. This would be construction of approximately 4,000 square foot building addition on the north side of the building to the west of the existing loading dock area. The addition location is over an existing impervious fenced in area used for outdoor storage. The addition will be used for manufacturing of metal components. The existing outdoor storage will be eliminated and no storage will be added. The loading area will continue to be utilized as it currently is with no new parking or access changes proposed. HTT is currently open 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and have approximately 130 employees. If approved, the proposed construction start is October 2021 with the anticipated completion date of June of 2022. HTT is a full-service metal progressive stamping company. They specialize in medium to high volume metal stamping with a specialty of deep draw type stamping. Our press size range from 25 to 400 tons, and most of our 44 plus presses are equipped with feeders, straighteners, and stock reels. Couple of staff comments is the addition is proposed to be located right on Union Avenue property line. A 0-foot setback. The applicant states that they're proposing the 0-foot setback to match the existing building footprint. And because there is an interior crane that's located on the north end of the existing building that will extend into the new addition as part of the manufacturing process. So the Plan Commission will definitely want to have the applicant explain a little bit about the addition location and the processes that will be involved in that addition. Applicant is requesting a couple of variances. One is to have the 0-foot setback to match the buildings, and one is from the locational landscaping requirements. So I can answer any questions. The applicant is here, and I believe there are several neighbors in attendance for this as well.
Are there any representatives from HTT here? Would you like to add anything else or any additional comments?
Yeah, so as Steve mentioned, we are trying to match the existing building line, and that's to bring the crane from the existing building into the new addition, so they can move the materials and equipment as needed. The current building is right up on the line, and we're actually stepped back a little bit from that. But we still have to kind of stay within the region where we're at, so that crane can come in and we can extend those crane beams into the new building. I can't maybe speak as much as Mark can on the processes of the building, but if you have any further questions, I can certainly answer them.
Any questions from commissioners? Yeah, Jerry?
Thank you. Yesterday at Architecture Review Board, we talked about the mechanicals on top of the roof. They'll be set back, so you can't really view those. One question I have, I live not too far from there, and I drive by there every day, is especially in summertime, how about the noise output, especially if the doors are open on a continuous basis? Is there any way we can take a look at that? I know it's kind of more of an internal issue, but especially because that side's going to be so close to the street, are there any doors on that side that will be open that will project more noise outward?
We will have one door, overhead door, that will be, that would be towards the loading docks. And that door is only for moving equipment in, but it's not really process related. So for the most part, that door will be closed.
Okay.
And there is no additional walk-through man door.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yep.
Additional questions from commissioners? Additional comments from the public? Sir, you want to come up and state your name?
Mike Robinson. I live across the street, and you guys hauled in that big machine about 2 weeks ago. Is that big machine going in that addition?
No, not the ones that we brought in.
About 2 weeks ago, you brought one in that just made it through that door.
That is not one proposed for this addition.
Okay, what about the noise? That's the biggest thing. Because when I talked to Neil, he told me that when you enclose that building, he told me about it, and he said that would solve all of our problems. But now it sounds like you're not using it for storage for crates. You're gonna use it for manufacturing. So what about the noise for all the neighbors across the street? I mean, at the end of the day, you go home, we have to live there 24 hours a day.
Yeah, there's additional insulation, I guess.
You gotta go to the podium. You have to go to the podium if you're gonna talk.
If they're going to respond, they have to speak in the podium so the folks online and watching on TV can hear.
Yeah, so there, we are, as Mark said, adding one door, which is just used for moving equipment, and that is on the east side of the building. And if that remains closed, the entire north wall is solid precast with some insulation in it, so that should help with any noise that would have been coming out through maybe those two existing overhead doors that are.
Are you gonna keep that big overhead door, the new one you put in, are you gonna keep that closed all the time? So that big machine that you just hauled in 2 weeks ago, that's not going in that addition? No. Okay. Don't question, where is it going?
Podium.
I don't know if it's relative, if it's not in the addition, but that machine that was brought in a couple weeks ago would be in the remaining, stamping plant.
Farther in the building
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yep.
I mean, the neighbors are more, we're worried about the noise. I mean, now you close the doors at night from 10 until 6, and that helps immensely.
Okay.
I mean, during the day, kind of put up with it. You have that one smaller overhead open all the time. But with the traffic and stuff, you don't hear it a lot.
I don't see why
At
not.
night, when you're trying to sleep, you can't sleep at night when that thing.
I think we still
You know, when they're going bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, I guess as far as the noise,
Insulation.
I know that, I think you have had conversation with our vice president.
I've talked to Neil several times,
Yep.
and he, because they weren't closing the doors all night. And then he got it, and they close them now. And they keep them closed, other than when they go out into that crate room to get stuff.
Okay.
And the noise has, at night, from 10 to 6, has gone away. So, I mean, are we gonna kind of keep it that way?
Yeah.
My question.
And that is one of the intents, is that the area that's being enclosed is housing pallets and pallet boxes that they bring in throughout the night. And that will not happen in that area anymore, so.
Not gonna use it for a great room no more?
No, that'll be put in the building that was purchased across the street
Okay.
on 19th Street. So it'll be indoor storage. That'll be brought over inside of trucks. So they won't be going out there with forklifts to pick up a pallet, or throw a pallet away.
So are these really big machines that are going in this addition, or?
We have a 400-ton, there will be one 400 and one 500 going in the addition.
Is that bigger than the one that one room that we moved a few years ago?
No, that's a 400.
The one that was in where all the racking is now, they
Yep.
moved that out, what, 4 or 5 years ago?
Yep.
This machine is the same size as that? or
One of them is the same, and one is slightly larger. One's a 400, one's a 500.
So does the drawing on the screen show kind of what,
Yep.
it's kind of faint, but you can
When
see
that
the,
machine- When that machine was over in that, where that racking is now, I live right across the street from door 17. I mean, the cupboards in my house used to shake.
Well, that's one thing that we did on these two additional machines that are shown on the bottom of that drawing, is we've invested, it's probably $50,000 in vibration
Plates.
mounts, that they're sitting on. Those are brand new, we don't have them yet, but when the presses are installed, they would be installed on those isolation pads.
That'll help the
Vibration.
vibration
And
and
it's,
noise.
right, and as far as keeping the doors closed, that is something that we're looking at, doing some electronic assists, where if the door is open for a certain amount of time, it'll automatically close.
You told me about that.
So,
Okay. So I guess just, I don't want to kind of belabor the point too much longer here, but I guess I just want to, kind of maybe lean on Steve too, if the plan commission wants to add another condition, to the process about just, when the door is not in use, that it remains shut. I just was wondering if commission members, how they feel about the noise issue, or, additional comments that folks might have on this one.
What about, sound curtains, if you would have to have, if the noise would be too much? I mean, we're not opposed to the addition, I mean, nobody wants to shut you down or anything like that. I mean, we're concerned about the noise as neighbors,
sure.
and the vibration and everything else. I mean, that's our biggest concern.
Okay,
We
so
can-
I'm gonna call on Steve, our planning manager.
Yeah, I think over the years, there's been, prior to HDT and I think HDT after ownership, there's been some concerns over time in terms of noise. So I do think that, obviously we're hearing some things, and from a construction perspective and things like that, more things we can do on that north wall and to keep the door obviously is a good idea. There's no reason why the plan commission couldn't include a condition that the new door that is being proposed on that east side remain closed other than the times that it's in use. But, it's definitely something that you guys are gonna need to be aware of, because there are certain noise restrictions, and it would be your responsibility to show how you're meeting those should complaints be received. So it's something that would be on HTT to demonstrate that they are meeting the city's noise ordinances if there's issues.
I mean, over the years, I've talked to that Greg Noble. I don't know, is he still there?
Yep, president.
Okay, yeah, I talked to him and he moved that machine. I mean, and I've talked to Neil here now in the last couple, 3 months, something like that. You guys have been real receptive. I mean, I'm not saying that, you're just, you don't ignore us. You try to work with us, so I mean, we appreciate that. It's just a concern.
Yep. Understood.
I don't know if there's more people here for this one.
Yeah. Commissioners? Are there additional comments from other members of the public on this item? All right, thank you. Motions?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve with the staff recommendation on the additional noise reduction technique. I think it's gonna help having that wall enclosed and not have that outside storage, but I think we should add that in there and work with HTT to see how we can affect that.
Motion second. Further discussion by commissioners? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Mayor votes aye. That's approved. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Next item, 3.2, application for premise implementation plan by South Pier Family Investments LLC to construct the second phase of the SP Riverfront condominiums located at South Pier District along South Pier Drive between Phase 1 condos and the fish cleaning station. Steve?
All right, thank you. Toby Watson is here from South Pier Family Investments, and Matt Weiss from Abacus Architects. Believe there may be some neighbors here for this one. What we're taking a look is, this is the second phase of the South Pier Family Investments condo projects. South Pier Riverfront Condominiums is a two-phase development. Phase 1 has already been completed, and it's included in the precise implementation plan just to show how the site lays out. Phase 1 included a new 4-story building featuring 21 dwelling units with an enclosed on-grade parking structure. The building was constructed on the western portion of the site, whereas Phase 2 will occur on the eastern portion of the site. Phase 2 will involve the complementary 4-story building featuring 15 dwelling units with an enclosed on-grade parking structure. The second building, Phase 2 will be similar in appearance and size to the first building. Phase 1 was approximately 11,000 square feet per floor with 7 units per floor, and the building was approximately 45,000 square feet total. Phase 2 will have approximately 4 floors at 9,360 square feet. So the total square footage of this building is approximately 38,000 square feet. The first floor would consist of an entry lobby and indoor parking for 22 cars, and floors 2 through 4 will have 5 units per floor for a total of 15 units. The elevator and 1 stairwell will continue up to the roof, where a public roof deck will be located. The 3 floors of dwelling units will be duplicated on each floor. There will be 5 2-bedroom, 2-bath units on each floor, ranging from 1,400 to approximately 2,000 square feet. Each unit will have an outdoor deck, and the entire building will be served by an elevator affording easy access to the units by the owners and their guests. Targeted unit sales prices will range from about $385,000 to $425,000, and the estimated approx value of Phase 2 would be about $4,500,000. Materials on the exterior of the building will be very similar to the previous condo building and was approved by architectural review last evening. The applicant chose two options that specifically deal with the northwest corner of the building site. The property line presently jogs in a bit at the corner and is not a 90-degree angle. And if that jog remains, the applicant has submitted an option 2 that addresses the building and the jog at the northeast of the building accordingly. A site inspection revealed that that jog may not be needed and the property line could be adjusted. And there would be the need to submit paperwork to the City of Sheboygan Redevelopment Authority to amend that ground lease to incorporate that. So they've showed two options. Another request is that the applicant is making in the highlighted yellow portion of the map that you see before you, 5-foot no-build easement on this section of the building. So basically, they're asking the city to create a 5-foot easement that no construction could take place in that area, and it's just in the section of the bump out. And presently, that area is just south of the fish cleaning station and is in a sidewalk area, so there's unlikely that any type of construction would take place in that area. But again, they would still need to make a formal request of that easement to the Sheboygan Redevelopment Authority. There's a significant amount of utilities in that area, and it would be the responsibility of the applicant to relocate the utilities as necessary. Applicant would work with the engineering department with regards to that in the utilities and sidewalk installation along South Pier Drive. No formal signage has been proposed at this time, but staff could work if there was anything to be done there. Maybe there isn't. The applicant is requesting the following exemptions. One is to have a 0-foot setback along the river. Obviously, that allows them to have some additional parking space and area in the front along South Pier Drive. There is a total of 69 parking spaces. And then they are requesting to have the building with a height of 61 feet, and that's just at the elevator shaft portion of the building. The roof line of the rest of the building is 47 feet, and the Plan Commission is able to approve buildings over 50 feet. Staff is recommending approval of the proposed project subject to the conditions you have before you. I can answer any questions. The applicant's here, and I believe there may be some neighbors here as well on this one.
Gentlemen, any additional comments you'd like to add?
No, I think he did a splendid job kind of giving you a good summary. I don't think there's anything. The one little corner that we're talking about on that property line, the reason for that little jog originally was that it was following the sidewalk. And now that we realize that the sidewalk isn't going to take that trajectory, we now realize that we just need to square that off to make the building also squared off.
All right, wonderful. Comments from commissioners, Jerry?
Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you. Toby, can you walk us through what happened on the first building, where you are on leasing that building? And I believe yesterday at Architecture Review, you talked about some pre-leases already being signed on this building as well. Can you walk us through where we are?
Sure. And just to be clear, it is a condominium project, so it's not going to be leased out, but it's going to be owner-occupied for the most part of everybody. Most of the people that bought in the first building, there were 21 condos, all 21 were sold, and they occupy those at this time. In fact, we've even had, I think, 3 resales since those original buyers had purchased. Most of them are owner-occupied, with the exception of maybe a couple that are second homes or people that on occasion will rent it out as a short-term rental. The second building, again, we project to be all owner-occupied type homes. In fact, I'm going to be moving into one myself and going to be moving down there next year when it's completed. I do have, of the 15, one to myself, and then we have 4 contracts, provided that we actually get approval to build it, that they will be purchasing those units. We expect that actually the last then 10 units will probably be sold before we finish completion, which would be a nice addition. The first building, we ended up having probably an average sale price right around $300,000, $290,000, somewhere in that neighborhood. This building is significantly larger units. The quality of the construction is going to be a little bit different in the way that we're building it, both the exterior as well as some of the interior. We brought the elevator to the roof. That was a strong demand for that, to have a elevator to the rooftop for more of a public area that people could access, which added quite a bit of cost as well. Second building, average cost is probably going to, they range from $425,000, and then the top floor being $499,000. So a pretty good increase, not only to the tax base, but just to the people moving to that area.
Thank you.
Additional comments from commissioners? All right, thank you. Comments from the public? All right, seeing none, motions?
Make a motion to approve, subject to staff recommendations.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, there's been a motion second. Additional comments? Seeing none, all those in favor, please state aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Mayor votes aye, that's approved. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3.3, conditional use permit with exceptions by RC Structures to construct a new addition to the Tidy Store facility and service station located at 810 North 14th Street. Steve?
All right, a couple gentlemen are here from CR Structures, and I don't know if there's neighbors here for this one. Basically, what we're taking a look at is we're taking a look, construction of an addition at the existing Tidy Store facility and service station located at 810 North 14th Street. The existing business is operating as a convenience store, a liquor store, and a service station. And business activities include gas sales, grab-and-go snacks, beverages, wine, beer, and liquor. The convenience store presently has no room for additional products or storage. The goal of this project is to add additional space for storage, more product options, and a small restaurant. The addition will be constructed on the west, rear, and south sides of the existing building. The applicant is proposing to add approximately 3,100 square feet of storage room space, walk-in cooler space, and restaurant to the existing 3,600 square foot building. So the building will be approximately 6,720 square feet when it's completed. The restaurant, which is approximately 900 square feet and located at the southwest corner of the building, would include a kitchen, 2 restrooms, and an order counter and limited seating. It's anticipated that most of the restaurant orders will be grab and go, with most of them coming from fuel customers. Restaurant would have seating for 12 people or less, and the menu would include pizza, sandwiches, chicken tenders, fish fries, appetizers, and the owner would be operating the space. One of the site improvements that's taking place is that the applicant will be removing the driveway on the southwest corner of the lot, which is along Wisconsin Avenue. The remaining 3 driveways, 2 on 14th and 1 on Wisconsin, will remain the same. And the current driveway at the southwest corner of the lot will be replaced with sidewalk, curb, and green space to match the neighboring space. Staff does have a number of concerns and questions that the Plan Commission should have the applicant address. And most of it has to deal with kind of the property and what it looks like. As far as some of the general information, the applicant has provided some very basic site plan information with no specific survey information showing exactly how the existing facility sits on the site and how the proposed structures will be on the site. So the applicant just needs to be aware that if the Plan Commission approves the project as proposed, a survey showing the construction of the project with actual dimensions will be required. And if that survey shows information different than what's been approved on this site plan, the matter would be required to be resubmitted back to the Plan Commission for review. As I was kind of indicating, the property is very cluttered. There's pipe bollards throughout the property with temporary cigarette signage throughout the site, temporary signage by the pylon sign, temporary cigarette signs on the window, garbage cans, vending machines, ice cooler, product display, newspaper dispenser, log rack, propane tanks, non-functioning air dispenser, overgrown and unmaintained landscaping. None of these items are really shown in the new drawings and what's happening to them. You know, is there going to be more outdoor items with the new addition? So the Plan Commission will want to have the applicant provide a detailed site plan showing how these items are going to be addressed and cleaned up of this property. Many of these same issues we've needed to address at Mr. Adhikari's other service stations at 905 Indiana and 1710 Indiana Avenue. The applicant indicated when the Plan Commission approved the previous liquor store project in about 2016 that a lot of the clutter was going to be cleaned up. I think it was for a little while, but it's gone back to what we see today. And it seems like the new project should take the opportunity to make sure the site is being improved rather than creating more space for additional clutter. Areas should be designated for those items that so they just don't sprawl along the face of the building. Applicant has a total of 4 soda machines located outside the building, 2 on the south side, 2 on the east side. With the additional cooler space, it'd be nice to reduce some of the number of machines. The last application, we permitted the applicant to have 1 soda machine outside. Anytime a commercial property abuts a residential zone, there are buffer yard requirements. And so there's a certain amount of landscaping and requirements that between this property and the adjacent property that Mr. Adhikari also owns at 1418 Wisconsin Avenue. And the Plan Commission should be aware that Mr. Adhikari owns the home there, and the issues at that property include overgrown landscaping that's not being maintained throughout the property. Front porch is weathered and not being properly maintained. There's a green donation box located along North 14th Street at the northwest corner of the garage that needs to be removed. It should be noted that Plan Commission has approved many projects over the years for Mr. Adhikari, yet these properties have been and continue to be an issue with regards to how the properties are managed and maintained. Plan Commission should be aware that building inspection, planning, and police department have all had interactions with Mr. Adhikari's properties concerning these matters. And Plan Commission should have the applicant address these concerns and what the applicant intends on doing to appropriately manage these facilities, not necessarily the contractor and person that's representing Mr. Adhikari, but Mr. Adhikari himself should be here to let us know what he plans on doing. Other items Plan Commission should have the applicant address is how he intends up cleaning up the property and managing the site so it does not become an issue. Once again, why does the applicant continue to install temporary signage all over the property when the city's approved an electronic reader board to advertise products? How does the applicant intend on consistently taking care of the house and landscaping? And is the applicant proposing to update the cast canopy in the future? North 14th Street is redeveloping nicely, and the city would like to see the overall look and feel of North 14th Street corridor continue to improve. The owners of the properties surrounding the tiny store have redeveloped and are well-maintained properties and structures. The city is glad to see Mr. Adhikari invest in his property, but it's time for Mr. Adhikari to maintain the tiny store as his other properties throughout the city. The proposed project certainly has the ability to help address some of the aesthetic concerns with the property. The project has the potential to positively impact the look and feel of the neighborhood and in this intersection of North 14th Street and Wisconsin Avenue. There are a couple of variances that are being requested. The applicant kind of shows a 10-foot building setback line. Yeah, if you could go to the next site plan with the aerial. There you go. They show a 10-foot rear yard setback and the buildings within that, but we'll just have to, so if the Plan Commission would be looking to approve that 10-foot rear yard setback. And then there is the need for 22 parking spaces. I don't see anything striped or any indication in terms of the number of spaces that are to be provided. And then we have not, there's some additional landscaping and buffer yard requirements that they're asking for that we haven't seen too much of. So there's a couple of comments that staff has. It's staff's position that this matter should be held so the applicant can provide some of the information that we're requiring as far as the detailed site plan with outdoor storage, and to maybe have the actual owner address the commission in terms of his plans once this was to get improved, how he had planned to maintain his site. If the Plan Commission chose otherwise, there are conditions of approval that have been, that are before you. But I think we've worked with Mr. Adhikari. These gentlemen from CR Structures are helping to improve some of his other properties. He's done some things at 1710 Indiana with the Shell station. He's doing some things with 905, but there's constantly this issue you know, we'd prefer not to have these types of conversations with him, and we want to make sure that when this gets approved, we don't have to have them.
All right, thanks, Steve. Gentlemen, any comments or follow-up?
Well said. We agree on all fronts.
All right, Dave.
Well, obviously, these questions aren't going to get answered today. You know, first of all, why in the world do they own those soda machines? I mean, why would you have soda machines outside of a C-store? I don't get that. And the other part is 22 parking stalls? Are you kidding me? How are they gonna do that?
Right, and that's one of the things, you know, and the restaurant is kind of grab and go. They're limited
Yeah.
in terms of the size. I'm not sure, you know, with something we've, you know, whether or not, and maybe the applicants, when they have the opportunity, could show some striping as where they could be. It's kind of limited. He does own the property to the west, so there could be some additional things. It's not as though the planning commission has to grant the variance. They could say, hey, we want this. So they're making a request, and it might be helpful with the next site plan that we see some striping to show what we do have.
Well, is this by ordinance that he needs 22 spots?
Right.
He does.
And that's based on about 6,700 square feet of building and one space per 300 square feet of floor area. Some of it's storage, some of it's not necessarily customer, you know, a lot of this, and maybe you guys might be able to explain, I don't know the exact number, but some of that was just storage for the facility. And maybe maybe that number could be broken down where it ends up being, say, for example, it's let's do numbers that make it easy for Steve. Say it was 3,000 square feet. And then it was 300 per, it would be 10 spaces. So maybe if they took some of the storage spaces that aren't really used by customers, that would be helpful for us to know, to maybe reduce and justify potentially a variance, you know, for that.
Well, I can't approve this without more information. I can't vote for this.
I just want to say that, you know, I think it's, you know, the code violations and the continual issue with the front of the building, especially on a major corridor, is our biggest concern. And, you know, I don't know, you know, we're led to believe that one thing is going to happen, and then, you know, we approve something and then something else happens, and there's no communication between the building inspection and the building inspector and planning and development from the applicant. So there's a lot of challenges that continue with this. And, you know, this is one of multiple properties that we continue to, you know, have to follow continuously to make sure that they're, you know, not putting pop machines outside that don't work. So, you know, those kinds of issues are not stuff that city staff should be having to deal with.
Yeah, I'd just like to say I'm all for this property to be improved, and I think it could look really nice, but you don't need rolling paper signs out there. Whatever.
And just so everyone knows, CR Structures, we've just started dealing with these guys. They're helping us out with a couple of his other projects. So it doesn't really relate, obviously, upon the contractor who's here today. We've spoken, and it's not as though it's something that Mr. Adhikari hasn't heard from us in the past. We're more than willing to work with them to try to get something done, because obviously if there's a way we can continue with the improvement of that area, we'd like to see it done.
Jerry?
Yeah, one thing that age gives me is time on this committee, and it's been a lot of years. We've been going around and around with these properties. So my thought, these guys came in yesterday to architectural review with a plan to make this building look better. You invested time and effort into doing that, but at this point, this is the hook. This is the time we have to make some of those things come to fruition. So my recommendation would be move to deny based on the factors that we quoted earlier.
This is Ryan from DPW. I'll second that.
There's been a motion and second. Further comments? Gentlemen, yeah?
It's a quick question. I'm Joel Erf with Mach 4 Engineering. We have submitted some additional information, but I think it probably did one of these numbers for the survey and the more detailed site plans. But is a denial, is it able to be brought back after, it gets addressed, or is that, is there a certain time frame you have to wait? I guess my question is, would we be better off asking you to table it? Or is a denial, is there
Good
punitive
question.
in terms of time?
Yeah, Steve?
Can I address that? Yeah, I mean, anytime application gets denied, I believe it's a 6-month time period unless working with staff, there are things that have changed. And in this particular instance, what I would say is that if we continue to work together to try to alleviate some of these things, we certainly can deny, no question about it. I'm not saying we cannot. The opportunity is to table and to have staff continue to work with the applicants until they could present something that's more beneficial. The other aspect of this is it could be denied, and we would continue to work with one another to address many of these things. So by the time it gets back, hopefully I'm surprised the gentleman didn't clean up the site in the first place before coming in here, but things like that could be done, cleaning up the site, getting things done, and then having another application come back. So that we could deny it. The time frame is 6 months. However, the ordinance says if there's things that the planning staff thinks have changed enough that would allow them to resubmit earlier than that, we could do that. And I would say some of the things would be with a little bit more detail and cleaning up the site. Those could be some circumstances that I think would allow me to accept an application sooner than that 6-month time period, if that was to happen.
For what it's worth, we had submitted, detailed plans, the architectural plans, which I think you probably saw yesterday, but we had, it's been surveyed. We have the actual, dimensions as far as off the lot lines, addressing a lot of the concerns, the landscaping plan. We sent it to you last week, but I realized you were out. So I guess if you could consider that as far as the difference between denial and tabling it, maybe even table it till whatever the next cycle is that, our site plan doesn't address the comments pertaining to the property management. So that's a, kind of a separate issue, obviously, for us anyway. Obviously, you got to consider it as a whole. But if you could maybe consider at least tabling it for a month to get a chance to take a look at some of the additional information we've submitted. And then obviously you got to address the other management issues, for lack of better terms.
And I was on vacation last week, so I had to get some stuff done a week earlier than typical. Usually that's why I ask for that information when they submit it, so I can have it right at the time I'm reviewing it, and not trying to gather things after the submittal deadline can be challenging, I understand, but I guess I need to maybe sometimes be more stringent on that. So it's totally up to the Plan Commission. I can work either way. And if, like I said, if it comes down that there's a denial, I could still probably look at the paperwork that you're speaking of and seeing if we can get it sooner. That's up to the commission in terms of how you want to handle that. I don't have I don't have an issue either way. I don't have a problem tabling it and working with them. I don't have a problem if the commission thinks it's time to deny and come back with everything and deal with that at another time.
Jerry, do you want to change your motion to
Yeah.
a table instead of a denial?
Yeah, my concern is we've done this dance before, and these guys unfortunately are getting caught up in the wave of other things that don't really concern them because they're doing their job, and I hate to put their livelihood at risk for a potential job. Unfortunately, this is a subject and subject matter that we've done this with time and time again, and I think a denial can still be brought back in a very expedient fashion, but I think it sends a message that we need to get these addressed on a permanent basis, not hide everything behind the curtain and then bring it back out when everyone is not looking. And that's what we've had done time and time again. That's just my opinion on the matter.
And I would really like to see some good faith action on these items, cleaning up the property before we approve this. In other words, if we're gonna approve this, we gotta see some action from the owner that he's gonna, hold up his end of the bargain.
And I have no problem bringing this back sooner.
Okay, Additional comments? Seeing none, all those in favor of denying, please state aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye, that motion is denied. Next meeting, October 26th. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor of adjourning, please state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye, we're adjourned at 4:42.
Don't you have this all this like